Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitan Jena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Yam Pravajantam Anupetya Abetya Krityam Rapayano Virahakatara Ajuhava Putreti Tanmayataya Taravo Benedus Tam Savabhutam Hridayam Munimanatusmi Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatam Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat Bhaktya Vihina Padada Lakshay Kiptastakamari Tarangamadye Kripa Maitam Sharanam Prapanna Vrinde Namaste Charanada Vindam Tavevasmi na jivami tvaya vina iti vigyaya radhe tvam nayanam charanandike vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patidanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So we're going to continue hearing the Sri Gopal Campu. And we're going to hear, continuing, about Krishna verbally jousting with the Brajakumaris after having snatched away their clothing while they were bathing, unawares, sneaking up on them, taking their clothes high into a kadamba tree, and now laughing. They're startled, they look, their clothes aren't on the bank, and they look around desperately. They see their clothes in the tree, and they see Krishna there with 4 young friends. Right? And then they begin arguing. And so we've heard some of the arguments. We're just going to continue on. Right? So they've accused him. Krishna's denying. We didn't steal anything. And so they were using a word play on the word ambara, clothing. Krishna takes it to be sky. Clothing? Yes. Well, what are you talking about? The sky's still here. You're still covered by that. I haven't stolen any sky. And then they say, well, you can do whatever you want. You can make cloth become sky. How will you benefit? How much bravery will you gain by stealing in this isolated place? Now Krishna is going to say, he's speaking in a gentle voice now. Oh, and before we begin, we offer, did I say obeisance unto the lotus feet of our beloved gurus? Unto Sri Guru Pada Padma Nityalila Bhavishta Om Vishnu Pada Stotal Sat Sri Srimad Abhaya Chana Ravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Mahashala Prabhupada and Sri Guru Pada Padma Nityalila Bhavishta Om Vishnu Pada Stotal Sat Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj and all the exalted Rupanuga Varga and assembled Vaishnavas Vaishnavis. So, now Krishna speaks in a gentle voice. These girls are not naked, but are covered with water. I am laughing at that. You can see that they have bad character and are gentle in behavior only superficially. Right? Oh, they pretend to be gentle, but, their words betray them, right? Their anger, their accusations, yeah? These poverty-stricken girls are unlawfully eyeing our clothing that we have thrown about while playing. They cover themselves in water while thinking which piece of cloth is, which piece of cloth is most suitable for them, while desiring a private place far from our eyes to put on that cloth. You can clearly see their golden cloth in the clear water of the Jamuna, which clings to the various limbs of their bodies, appearing like groups of letters. Go quickly to the water and take the girls out by grabbing their hands. So Krishna's saying, yeah, they're actually thieves. They're accusing us. They have their own cloth. Look at the golden cloth surrounding them. Actually, what he's referring to is the natural effulgence of the gopis' bodies, which in the water creates an aura glowing around them, right? And he's saying, what are they saying? They already are clothed, and now they want ours? These are not gentle girls. Now, he tells the boys, go, help them come out of the water. So, understanding his order, the boys went to the bank and stood waiting for a moment out of respect. The girls addressed the boys. Why are you standing there stunned? Come close without fear. Remember, these are young boys. And in this world also, girls mature faster mentally and even physically than boys in the early ages. And so, and these girls are a little older anyway, many of them. So these boys would be a little intimidated by them. So they're standing there. Krishna ordered them to do this. And now the girls are saying, oh, why are you standing there stunned? Just come close without fear. The girls spoke to their friends. Oh, friends, bring these thieves into the water and dunk them. They spoke to the boys. We can pull the person who taught you how to steal women's belts and clothing into the water by the mercy of Katyayani. What to speak of pulling you in? So they're threatening them. Hearing this, the boys stumbled back to the kadamba tree and quickly climbed up. Right? Laughing, Krishna addressed them clearly. You are playing in this place like auspicious women. Let your pride remain. I see that the devatas are merciful to you. As long as you remain living in the water, we are determined to stay on the top of this tree, living in the air. So you're doing a vow, I'm also doing a vow, right? I'm not leaving. They wanted to wait him out, but now he's saying, you can't wait me out. And of course, he's in a very favorable position. He's comfortable in the tree, they're in the cold water shivering. Understanding his words, the girls revealed their minds using puns. Pun meaning using a word in one way actually means something else. One who remains in a boat, or a tree, right, has no fear of the river. Why ask about the river to persons who have offered their bodies into the river? Smiling, he began to speak compassionately to the girls who were shivering from seeing his face and from the cold waves. So we heard that earlier. Remember that they're shivering partly out of the cold water because of the cold water, but also a manifestation of their internal ecstasy, right? Oh, rare girls, your joints are becoming loose because of the cold. Please, come here. So he's saying, hey, I can help you. Just come out of the water. Frowning, they said, why are you asking us to come? Krishna said, please come and take the clothes which were stolen by a forest spirit and taken from her by me. Now he's playing the hero. Yeah, okay, they are your clothes. Some forest spirit stole them. I got them back for you. Now, please come and take them. They said, what more do we need to look for? Saying this, they stretched out their hands and advanced slightly, still in the water, right? Krishna then said while pointing his finger, oh, lotus-eyed girls, come here, close to me. They said, why are you telling us to come here? Krishna said, my glance has become extraordinary, right? So he's praising them, expressing his own eagerness in his indirect statement, right? And then Krishna said, you cannot change clothing during an eclipse. And they said to each other, oh fools, he is speaking in order to cheat us. I'm not sure what that means. That's very subtle. I mean, the Sanskrit, what's the eclipse? Are they closing their eyes. Does he mean like that? They're closing, because at one point they're closing their eyes in embarrassment, right? So sometimes that's indicated like that. So they said to each other, "Oh, fools, he is speaking in order to cheat us." Right, he wants to somehow trick us into coming out. Biting his tongue, Krishna then spoke while showing the cloth. "I speak the truth. It's not a lie." Right? "Here's the cloth. I have it right here. Come and get it." Suspecting some obstacle, the girls spoke among themselves. "Oh, fools," this is one of his jokes. He is laughing heartily within himself. When it says, "Oh, fools," they're just saying, "Oh, we're all foolish friends. He's trying to cheat us. Let's not be cheated. Let's be careful." Right? Hiding his smile, he spoke sweet words. "Oh, this is not a joke. You have become thin because of your vows to Katyayani. You are so pitiful, you should not suffer." They said, "Someone who takes others' clothing because of lust and then acts compassionate to them when they are cold shows himself to be most absurd." Right. Look at you trying to pretend like you're the great hero here, You're actually looking out for us. You stole our clothes, and now you're pretending to be compassionate to us. So then they go on and say, "But let that be. Speak truthfully. When did you begin speaking the truth?" Krishna said, "I never speak lies." They said, "Who has said that?" Krishna spoke with a smile. "Ah, proud girls, if you make incorrect conclusions about me, then please ask these most righteous people gathered here," pointing to the boys, right? Who are obviously his friends and allies. They're not impartial witnesses. They said while smiling, "True. They seem to know your intentions and are righteous." Gopis are enjoying this banter. They're smiling. Krishna said, "Ah, girls with thin waists, if you think my words are not true, then see with your eyes. You can all come, or one among you can come forward." Then he quotes the Bhagavatam from that chapter. This would be the 12th verse. Then, seeing how Krishna was joking with them, the gopis became fully immersed in love for him. And as they glanced at each other, they began to laugh and joke among themselves, even in their embarrassment. But still, they did not come out of the water. So now, Kant is progressing the story by explaining the mood of the gopis by quoting the Bhagavatam, right? By quoting the Bhagavatam. And so now the gopis, they're deathly immersed in love for him. And they're joking together, but they're very embarrassed still. They're perplexed. "Oh, what are we going to do? This is fun. Krishna's engaging with us in this way, but we can't get out of the water." They were embarrassed to go to the shore and were freezing cold in the water. Thus they all remained there stunned. They spoke a little. It's interesting, freezing cold in the water. So Yogamaya is acting here, right? All the environment, the climate, everything about Vrindavan is favorable for the exchange and the experience of prema. Remember how we heard earlier that prema is controlled by the lila. So now the water is very cold. It's cold. They're not like some yogis where they're just sitting there unaffected. They're really cold, right? It's freezing cold. And they want to get out. But they're stunned and they spoke a little. Now they're trying to appease him. Remember, we heard this before. "You are the jewel of Nanda, the object of affection for the people, and are respected by them. We are becoming disturbed in heart because of the extreme cold. Please give us our clothing. Give us our clothing. Do not act improperly." This is part of the dialogue in that mood of Sama, right? Praising his good qualities, hoping to invoke his compassion and mercy. Krishna said, "I have seen some crafty person here. Since you are from good families, I must help you who are defenseless, since the forest spirit has stolen your clothing. Therefore, I am acting like this. We do not have any interest in your lowly clothing. If you give something to satisfy us, with joy, we will remove the obstacle caused by the forest spirit. A lot of this is the same dialogue that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur reveals in his purports, remember? So obviously he has read Jiva Goswami's commentary, or dialogue in Gopal Campu, and so he was sharing that, giving that to us in that way. So he's saying, I don't have any interest in your clothing. Just give something to satisfy us, me, the royal us, right? With joy, we will remove the obstacle caused by the forest spirit. Hearing this, the girls who were engaged in worshiping Katyayani began to reflect. He is trying to make us reveal the exact intentions in our minds. So in other words, we were here this whole month just to get him as our husband. Now, they hadn't spoken this explicitly to him, and they're not certain that he understands or knows that. And they figure that now Krishna's trying to pry this out of us. What are we doing? Why do we do this? Why are we here? So this is the right time to reveal the attraction in our minds. But we should be careful of deceit. That seems natural since we are now freezing and frightened. So again, the nature of prema is that one is reluctant to reveal that to the other. In this world, which is the reverse, love demands to be heard and expressed. You know, the advice columnists on relationships always say you have to express your love. You know, always make it clear to your wife or whatever, I love you, I love you. Before you go to bed, I love you. When you wake up, I love you. But in prema, direct statements like that diminish. It's much higher to be expressed indirectly, by action, by glance, by subtle means. And so, Krishna's trying to pry this out of them, and their reluctance is appropriate. They said to him, we are freezing from the icy wind and are about to die. You should not joke with us using torturous words. Give us our clothes. We will accept the bad name, what you wish to give us. So now they're trying to get him to express his love. Right? He's acting aloof and independent, just playing with the clothes, trying to get them to show their surrender and love for him by doing this impossible task. They're trying to get him to show his love to them by giving the clothes. And so this push and pull and debate is just increasing the love of both sides, even though it appears to be a stalemate. But something is going on. Smiling, he said, if I give you what I want, I will accept obedience. No, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Now, this is an important line. This is important. Now they're going back and forth. They're asking something from him. He's asking something from them. Now he says, if you give what I want, I will accept obedience to you. Krishna saying, yes, I want to become obedient to you. But you have to also give me what I want. This is the nature of, Jayatam mam prapadyante tang sataiva bhajamyam. You surrender unto me, I reward you accordingly. Krishna's asking the greatest thing from them, but he's saying, if you give me and remove the last shred of obstacle to our love, then I will become obedient and submissive to you. I will give you my mind, my heart, my body, my soul. Right? They began to think, he has become expert at affecting our hearts. Anyway, we must go along with his jokes and serve him. They then spoke clearly. O Shamasundar, we are your servants. Now they're just trying to get away by just saying it verbally, right? Okay, we're your servants. Now they mean it, but what's Krishna going to say? He speaks with a smile, then please do as I previously stated. Remember the verse of the Bhagavatam, my dear girls, if you are my servants, then you will do what I say. Don't just tell me you're my servants. Act like it. Looking at each other with darting eyes, they spoke. All right, we will do as you have said. Now, though filled with eagerness, now Krishna's really excited, he remained silent. Then they spoke again. O knower of Dharma, give us our clothing. Since you break your promises elsewhere, you should not pronounce Dharma while causing mortal wounds. Okay, they've declared we're your servants, but still they want their clothing. They're not coming out of the water so easily. When Krishna remained silent, hiding an amused smile, they again spoke. If you do not do this, we will tell the king. Now that's dividing, right? Beda. They want to break his determination by this threat. They spoke in this way to cause fear in him, though he was without fear. They did not mean it. The intention of their statement was to make him understand the word king. Krishna replied suitably, when will you be my servants? When will you follow my words? I have not realized that yet. If this topic is true, without alternatives, rise from the water, bringing with you all treasures, and come here as a group with smiles, not with even a little hint of rudeness. If you do not do this, why should we help young girls who have made false vows and have introduced a dharma? Again, reminding them, you've committed an offense to the deity of the water, to the sun god, right, himself. So your vows have become false. This is adharma. So he's saying, okay, if you're really my servants, then come out of the water with all your treasures. What does that mean? All your beauty. I want to see all of your beauty unimpeded, and I want to see you happy in this. Your treasure of your beauty and the treasure of your heart's feelings of unimpeded love, right? Selfless love. That's the real treasure of the Gopis. And that's what makes them so beautiful. Seeing that they did not come out of the water, he then spoke using harsh words. Now, he's also trying to use different methods to convince them, diplomatic persuasion. Now he's using harsh words. I do not seek a relationship with you girls who are useless, hopeless, and vulgar. But you should understand that I am quite merciful to you. Otherwise, I would not give you the cloth. What can an angry king do? He had mentioned the word king deceitfully. Then in silence and in fear, they began to trust the words of Krishna, the crest jewel of civility and compassion. So despite what it appears, Jiva Goswami is making it known that Krishna's being completely compassionate here, because he's giving them the opportunity to show selfless love, anukulyena, krishnanushilanam, right? Actions only motivated with the desire to give the greatest happiness to Krishna, right? So, still, they did not completely trust him. However, though their bodies could not move because of shame, they rose from the water in order to get relief from the pain of the cold, because their limbs were becoming numb. So here again, Jamuna Devi is acting as the agent in this Leela. They had to come out. She helped force them out. Right? This is how the wise describe their situation. Though they acted this way because of the cold, there is also another reason. Quote, if our desires are fulfilled, we will maintain our bodies. Otherwise, we will give up our bodies. This much we agree on. If the agreement is not met, even then, what is the use of our shame, since we will die? Going to him without clothing, we can use the pretext of the cold. So they have still a shred of their chastity here. We're not coming out to exhibit ourselves. We have to come out because of the cold, right? This will cover their embarrassment and give them some excuse, right? Now, this is not an unworthy emotion. This chastity and shame is an ornament of them. But in this case, it's an obstacle for what Krishna wants. Somehow they came out of the water, but they did not reveal themselves completely. They placed their delicate hands in front of them, acting as their lower clothing, and by spreading their hair, they obtained an upper covering. Placing infant girls in front of them, they approached Krishna with their bodies contracted like hunchbacks. So they're hunched over, hands down below, and hair, beautiful long hair, which reached practically to their ankles, covering their upper body and the rest of them. So, and then these little girls in front of them. The young boys then laughed loudly among themselves, saying, "Look, Krishna, these young girls, completely frightened, are coming here after throwing their clothing in the water." Boys don't understand what's going on. They can't, because they're in Sakyaras, and they're very young. So all of the subtleties of this, and the experience and exchange of Shringar Ras, Madhurya Ras, is outside of their comprehension. But they're laughing according to their own perspective of this pastime. But Krishna, being contemplative, showed great mercy. Though women endowed with all good qualities are compared to the moon, these young girls surpassed that comparison, since they were without blemish. They were without blemish physically, but also in their hearts, in their absolutely pure spiritual hearts, without blemish. How astonishing. These girls from good families desire to give up their bodies. They cannot give up their shame. They have approached me in this condition. It is good that they worry about displeasing me. Their eagerness has made them give up reservations, and they look to me in their condition of suffering. So they've done it. They've gotten out of the water. And there's no wrongdoing in covering themselves in that way. It's also still appropriate. Okay, you've ordered us out, but we're respectful. This is part of our, nature, to be chaste and shy and embarrassed. So, but then Krishna says, my heart desires to make clear jokes which fulfill my desires and point out their faults in order to remove their shyness. Though they have come, they are fully inhibited and remain there covering their limbs. He then spoke out loud. Ah, you are fickle boys. Why are you laughing? These girls are without clothes. Can they be criticized in a naked state? Right. Taking the cloth from a branch of the Kadamba tree and showing it to them, he spoke with a smile in order to express his love. Now he's showing something more, right? For he was joking, hiding his emotion somewhat behind that, behind his orders, behind his rejection of their arguments. Now he's got their cloth, and he's speaking directly to them with a smile in order to express his love. This smile is mentioned in Gopi Geet as one of the ways that the gopis understand Krishna's inner heart. You have shown us, your inner feelings, your desire to be with us by your smiles, by your glancing, by your smiling, by solitary walks, right, together, and intimate conversations in solitary places. So now he's showing that. He's smiling. He's expressing his love. And he says this, though: I will give you the cloth when you decide to become my servants, right? Fully my servants, right? Previously, it was difficult to decide. But seeing the situation now, it is clear. You have learned about conducting worship from a genuine guru, but I have become pale on seeing your bad conduct. You should understand that by entering the river naked, you have offended the deity of the water. In order to nullify this fault, you must place your hands on your heads and offer respect to the deity. Right? No more covering. The girls felt shame in their hearts. They were overcome with intense fear. They understood that they must obey his order. It is improper that these boys see our private parts, but there is no harm in showing them to a husband who is like a devata. They thus diverted the boys by saying, "Look, someone is making a sound out there." In a joking manner, they offered respects to Krishna. "Oh, Master, we offer respects to you." So this is, people joke like this. "Hey, look over there." I goes, "What?" So that's what the boys did, right? So they not seeing. So now they've completely revealed themselves. Seeing their limbs with interest and eagerness, considering their tenderness and beauty, he became satisfied. He gave them their clothing with a laugh. "Because of seeing you, I have easily attained you as my wives. How else can I offer myself to you?" Having satisfied them, he showed his own cleverness. So in other words, you wanted me as a husband, then you have to show me that you are like my wife. So you have to show yourself to me as only a wife could show herself to her husband. Having done that, I accept you completely. Unfavorable speech produced out of friendship produces compliance and joy. By stealing their clothes, he gave them great bliss. But when Krishna came down from the tree, to hide their shame, the girls put on their clothing with even greater embarrassment. Clear rati manifested in them and spread throughout their limbs. Their lotus faces began to blossom slightly on attaining Krishna. Their glances fell upon him. Ah, the movement of love is crooked. Krishna came to give them a gift, but he forgot everything on smelling the fragrance from their lotus faces with his nose. As bees surround lotuses filled with honey, the young girls remained around him, accepting him as their husband. Right? So everything's been complete, right? And their clothing was certainly fragrant. We heard that he, from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, that he enjoyed putting that clothing on his shoulder because it contained the fragrance of the gopis. They had been wearing that clothing, absorbed in the mood and the desire to have Krishna as their husband, right? And so that cloth carried that fragrance, which he was tasting and smelling. But now they've become even more fragrant because their prema has increased, because their expression of love through the act of absolute surrender has made them even more beautiful, and all their qualities, their effulgence, the beauty of their eyes, their smiling lips, mouths, everything about them, even more and more fragrant. And Krishna's enjoying this. And so the girls then said, "Let us go. What else should we do here?" Taking the clothing and ornaments in their hands, they felt great bliss. Krishna, attractive because of stealing the clothing, looked for the gift he was to give. Thereafter, understanding that the girls undergoing penance desired to touch his hand, he decided to fulfill that desire. They were enjoying each other's company. They were enjoying this intense connection just by seeing each other, being in such proximity. Just by handing the cloth, they didn't touch him directly, they touched the cloth, but still they were connected. But now they want to touch him directly. If one worships someone else for one's own benefit, it is worship for the self. One who is absorbed in me but shows disrespect externally gives me pain. Oh wait, I missed something. Thereafter, understanding that the girls undergoing penance desired to touch his hand, he decided to fulfill that desire. Now he's speaking. If one worships someone else for one's own benefit, it is worship for the self. One who is absorbed in me but shows disrespect externally gives me pain. I am the first type of person. You are the second type. I consider your unconditional vow to be the highest truth. Right? And this discussion goes on elsewhere also. The three kinds of lovers, or three kinds of persons. One who shows love as long as it's reciprocated. If you give me something, then I return it. That's the best you get in this world, basically. Then there's one who, even if you don't show them love or reciprocate, they still love you. Something is there in parental affection for children. But Krishna is saying, I'm the first kind, and you are the second, selflessly giving without even expectation of return. The third type is one who, even when love is shown to them, they don't reciprocate. And there are different kinds of that person also. That's described in another place here in this Gopal Campu. We'll hear that. In desiring me, you have no other desire. Just as grains fried in ghee and then fermented in sugar dissolve, worshiping only me, you worship no other object. There is only taste for me. Thus, what more can I say about you? When the best of women heard this, when he hinted that they should marry according to Gandharva rites, their eyes showed embarrassment, and they waited for the time of acceptance. Increasing his powers for accepting them in marriage, he again spoke pure words to them. Mutual acceptance of the bride and groom is the method of Gandharva marriage. Mutual acceptance is the highest dharma and manifests naturally between a couple. Having reached success by the Gandharva method of marriage, please return to Braj. On a night very soon, we will meet. When he promised this, their devotion increased further. Shukadev has said, and he quotes the Sanskrit, and then, thus instructed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the young girls, their desire now fulfilled, could bring themselves only with great difficulty to return to the village of Braj, meditating all the while upon his lotus feet. When the girls bowed to him in shyness, their eyes experienced first his eyes, then his red lips, then his arms, then his waist, his hips, thighs, knees, and lotus feet. When they separated from him and returned to Braj, they saw those limbs within their hearts continually. Krishna stole their cloth and their hearts, and only returned their cloth. He did not return their hearts, but hid them. The last day of the worship and vows had passed. Joyful on attaining Krishna as their husband, they forgot the worship and returned to Braj. All their actions were filled with the happiness of attaining him. They had obtained the happiness of Krishna, accepting to be their husband as a result of their prema, for which reason they had worshipped Katyayani. what more could be attained after this? Madhukant said, why did Katyayani, who ate the sweets offered during that month, not come to bestow the desired result? They worshipped her to fulfill that. Why did she do that? Stignikant answers, the anurag of the girls was capable of bestowing the best results. Our worship does not give such results. Katyayani did not come to bestow benedictions, but Krishna, the object of their anurag, came personally. Then Madhukant says, then Garga kept these young girls especially separated from Krishna. Stignikant said, he did so, but not directly. Madhukant said, how is that? Stignikant said, Krishna was not eager to come back to Braj to see Radha and other women of Braj, best of chaste women, who were suffering from being married to men. And the vows of taking the sacred thread and weddings could not be conducted without bringing Garga again. Since Nanda and Jashoda accepted Garga's proposal, Radha and other women were no longer available to him. Because his mind was disturbed by this, he kept apart from the young girls at that time. So this is an ongoing discussion about the unfolding of the Parakya Ras and how it's going to take place. Why these young girls, even though their parents and the girls and Krishna, everybody wanted them to be married, why it did not take place. Because Parakya is the highest form of tasting love. So they had to have husbands, even though they were not real husbands. They were created by Yogamaya for this purpose. But they never touched the girls, because once someone has been accepted by Krishna, no one else can touch them. That's why the sister of Ravan was not able to, that's why Lord Ram had her nose and ears cut off, so that no one else in that lifetime would want to be with her. Even though her intentions were crude, she wanted Ram as her lover. So he accepted her out of his mercy, but not in that body and at that time. So in the next life, she became Kubja, the hunchback woman. And she was made a hunchback, so even in that lifetime, until Krishna came to meet with her in Mathura, no one would want to be with her. So this whole thing about Garga instructing Purnamasi and Purnamasi instructing Vrinda, they all had a hand in making this arrangement, that these young girls, they couldn't have a formal marriage with Krishna, but they were married in their heart, right? But they're going to get some other husbands. So, how did the young girls carry on after that? Stignikant said, externally they were still young, but because they married Krishna, they were no longer young girls. Madhukant said, that is true. Their present state was opposite to their previous childish condition. They remained separated from Krishna because his consciousness was predominated by Radha and others. After elaborating on this subject, the reciter addressed Radha. When Krishna delayed, the strength of love became stronger because of the lack of meeting with you. So the Rasa Leela, the first Rasa Leela, had not taken place yet, and it would not take place for many months. So they weren't able to culminate their relationship in the topmost way yet. And this is some of the reason. As previously, Krishna again began playing his flute. Shukadev, Guru of Parikshit, has recited a verse which is pertinent to this pastime, though it belongs to the description of the Rasa Leela. The words of the Gopis are filled with ras. O Lord of love, in beauty your glance, this is from the Gopi Geet, I believe. Yes. Sharu dashaye sadhu jata sad Sarasati Jodar, Shri Mushadisha, Suratanatate, Shukla Dashika, Varada Nignato, Neha Kim Vada. O Lord of love, in beauty your glance excels the world of the finest, most perfectly formed lotus within the autumn pond. O bestower of benedictions, you are killing the maidservants who have given themselves to you freely without any price. Isn't this murder? This is Gopi Geet. And then this next verse, this is when the gopis had come and they were speaking back and forth with Krishna, who questioned them, why have you come out here? O lotus-eyed one, the goddess of fortune considers it a festive occasion whenever she touches the soles of your lotus feet. You are very dear to the residents of the forest, and therefore we will also touch those lotus feet. From that time on, we will be unable even to stand in the presence of any other man, for we have been fully satisfied by you. That's the 29th chapter. Right? Thus they made a request in misery at the beginning of the evening of the Rasa dance. So this is going to happen in a few months. They're going to speak this verse. And then, this is from the chapter of Venugit. Much earlier, in Purvarag, before they've met, the Aborigine women of Vrindavan area became disturbed by lust when they see the grass marked with reddish kumkum powder. Endowed with the color of Krishna's lotus feet, this powder originally decorated the breasts of his beloveds. And when the Aborigine women smear it on their faces and breasts, they feel fully satisfied and give up all their anxiety. This description indicates the influence of the flute, which was previously described. So this goes on and on here. I'm going to stop here. I'm not sure if I'll continue to read from the Gopal Campu or whether we'll go to the next verse, because this is now talking about the maturation of that love and what happens after this Leela, right? So we'll see. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. But we will stop here. And because it's kind of gone longer than I've been going lately. So all glories to the Prabhupada, all glories to the Gurudev, all glories to the assembled devotees. Go Premanande, Haribo, Haribo.